Sometimes the easiest way to kind of look at this is to compare and contrast it to the earlier programs. So kind of a real quick breakdown. Here is how the Alabama Revive Plus, which is on the far right, differs from some of the others. So, at the beginning of this, the federal government released the EIDL, which was just a loan and you had to repay, along with the PPP, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with here. You basically got a loan that could be forgivable. The expenses are non-deductible. So, basically it's just an infusion of funds that you're able to use to kind of keep paying your employees, paying your rent, kind of keep the lights on and keep things going. Those two happened earlier on. Then in the middle of the year, we had Alabama Revive, which was a grant program that was for up to 15,000, but you had to have less than 20 employees and under 3 million in revenue. And that was through My Alabama Taxes. And of course, that one is taxable, the income from that. If anyone did that, then you're probably familiar with that process and the requirements there. And then later on, there was also the Alabama grant for nonprofit organizations and faith-based organizations. Another $15,000 that was a grant. There weren't as many restrictions on kind of the type of business and entity it was as far as contribution revenue limits, if you had employees and everything, and taxability isn't really too much of an issue there. That one was administered by Alabama Department of Finance, and you had to do it through the Submittable, I think it's submittable.com website. If you had worked with any charities or organizations, or maybe you're on the board for someone that pursued this is probably what it's going to be most similar to. So if you did Revive earlier in the year, since that was through My Alabama Taxes, that won't really be what's happening here. They even directed people that didn't have a MAT account, a My Alabama Taxes account, to create one. If you made one, then good, but what you need now is a submittable account. There's a little uncertainty here. I think you can go ahead and create it and then have the account ready to go so that you can just log in on Monday morning. But we've kind of gotten some different feedback from the state. So I recommend going ahead and creating a submittable account. Worst case, you have to create a brand new one on Monday, but that saves you a little bit of time. So between now and Sunday, go ahead and go to the link, and I'll have the link available later on. And it's also in the Revive Plus grant document information. But if you go ahead and go to that website, you can set up an account and just save yourself having to verify email, put in your name and email and everything. And then you'll be ready to roll when it comes around for Monday morning at noon. But then finally, Alabama Revive Plus is the latest one. The grant size is bigger at $20,000. This one is for 50 or less employees. And to clarify, a little uncertainty may exist here. And if you want to double check, you may want to reach out to the state. In some of the language, it says for businesses with 50 or less employees, and then separately it states nonprofits and faith-based organizations. So does the nonprofit also have to have less than 50 employees? I don't know. Just some uncertainty that you may want to clear up by contacting Montgomery to kind of clarify. Because if you're a nonprofit, but you have more than 50 employees, probably definitely worth it to at least double check before you disregard it and write it off. Presumably Alabama Department will say that this is taxable like the original Revive grant was. But of course, if you're a nonprofit or faith-based organization, there may be different circumstances there. But this one is, again, through Alabama Department of Finance, and you can do it through Submittable. So, go ahead and set up an account, kind of get that taken care of, and then you don't have to kind of mess with that later on Monday when at least a few other people, if not everybody, is trying to do it then. Again, the biggest thing is just being aware of this, telling your neighbors this is money that your community can really benefit from, and you want to be able to have that the funds, or even if you're not eligible for your business, the company next door, your barber, whatever, make sure that they get their funds if they're eligible for it.